This has effectively brought the federal funds rate to 0%. In addition to cutting the interest rate, the Fed is also implementing various accommodative monetary policies to kind of try to provide liquidity to the markets. The first is that they're increasing their asset purchases. Initially, they announced that there'd be 700 billions of assets that they would purchase, 500 billion with Treasury securities of all durations, and then the remaining 200 billion for asset-backed securities. On Monday, they actually announced that they were going to expand this operation and purchase bonds in the amounts needed. So this is a pretty extraordinary action. They are injecting $1.5 trillion into the system to kind of provide liquidity to the overnight lending markets. And this is in addition to the stimulus that they provided at the end of the year. They're also providing liquidity to the commercial paper and the municipal paper markets by kind of being the buyer of last resorts. This will help small businesses as well as state and local governments kind of meet their short-term financing needs. This is important because the dollar is a safe haven currency as well as a staple in international business transactions. As a result, we do see a consumer-led recession starting in the second quarter of 2020 and likely continuing throughout the year. In addition to weak consumer spending, we also see weakness in U.S. exports. Global growth is also being affected by the coronaviruses as all the countries around the world are affected. And we also see muted business spending due to the uncertainty surrounding the demand for products as well as investment. Unfortunately, we also see a large uptick in the unemployment rate this year. And the length of the recession is largely dependent on the path of the virus. However, we see an eventual recovery is largely being tepid due to the government's limited resources as they've already implemented a lot of accommodative monetary policy as well as fiscal policy, and they're not going to have a lot of room to implement those further. We did see the VIX index, which measures volatility, reach 80 last week, which is a really high number. I mean, most of last year it ranged between, the upper teens to 20s. Stock market values have decreased since the start of the year. Credit spreads have widened, and the dollar has experienced some upward pressure. All of this has led to tighter financial conditions, which we expect to continue due to the heightened uncertainty surrounding the consequences of the virus. The Fed, acting as the buyer of last resort, should hopefully restore some confidence to the markets going forward.